here with just a little astro chat about how we are switching into Virgo season. So the sun moved into the sign of Virgo yesterday. So we've gone from Leo solar energy to Virgo, but we've also had Mars move into the sign of Virgo on Sunday, last Sunday. And we also had Venus on Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, move into the sign of Virgo as well. And then next week we are having Mercury move into the sign of Virgo. And I believe Juno is moving as well, so an asteroid. So a lot of the planets, especially the faster moving planets, have shifted into Virgo energy or will shortly. And so we're moving away from kind of that expansive Leo type energy where Leo's very like, let's get out there. It's very extroverted. It's very dramatic. It's very like, I want to go out and have fun. I want to be on stage. I want to, party, that kind of energy, to Virgo energy, which is quieter. It's more feminine. It's more introverted. It's more earthy. It's not fiery like Leo. It's earthy. It's really about getting down to day-to-day routines. So it's no accident that this is the time of year when people go back to school, they go back from their holidays, that kind of thing. We're getting back to day-to-day routines. We're getting back to paying attention to the details in our life. So I encourage you over the next month to really look at what your day-to-day routines are like. This is the time to really think about that, to think about, is it serving my health? Is it serving the work that I want to do in the world? Because each of the signs rules a house in the zodiac. So there's if you know about birth charts are divided into 12 pieces of the pie. And the sixth piece of the pie, which is associated with Virgo, is the house of work and service. It's also health, and it rules pets too, of all things. But it's about where we put our service into the world. And that's what Virgo energy is asking us to do over the next month, is to really examine our routines and how we're of service to the world. Now, each of the signs is ruled by a planet. Classically, before Uranus was discovered in the late 1700s, there were 7 planets, according to astrologers, because they're the 7 visible planets that we can see with our naked eyes. And they put the sun and the moon as planets. We know they're not actual planets, but celestial bodies, we'll say. And each of the signs of the zodiac, they're usually each planet ruled 2 signs classically. Except for Cancer's ruled by the moon and Leo's ruled by the sun. And those are the only signs that they rule. Traditionally, Aries and Pluto are ruled by Mars. Taurus and Libra are ruled by Venus. Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by Jupiter. And Aquarius and Capricorn are ruled by Saturn. That's the traditional. But when they discovered Uranus, and then later Neptune in the 1900s, and then Pluto in the 1930s, a lot of modern astrologers adjusted this. And so what happened was Uranus rules Aquarius now, Neptune rules Pisces now, and Pluto rules Scorpio now. So what's happened is most of the signs, or most of the celestial bodies, the planets, whatever you want to call them, rule one sign, except Venus and Mercury. Venus still rules Taurus and Libra, and Mercury still rules Gemini and Virgo. So Virgo's ruled by the planet Mercury, and Mercury is a very airy planet. It's about communication, it's about thought. But I think the rationale with Virgo is because Virgo is all about the details, and Mercury can be very much about the details as well. So that's the rationale for that. Now, personally for me, and this is just me personally, this is not other astrologers, it's just me, so don't go attributing this to other people. I'm just saying for me personally, I see Mercury more ruling Gemini than it does Virgo. Because Mercury, it's about thought, communication, it's about speed, it's about travel, and Gemini is all of those things. So when I look at Virgo, I personally find I connect it more with the asteroids Vesta and Ceres. So Vesta rules the home and hearth. It also rules our sense of spirituality and sexuality to a certain extent, like the spiritual side of it. And Virgo is very much about the home and hearth. It's about the day-to-day routines. It's about our daily devotions. And that's why I associate it with Vesta with Virgo. I also associate the asteroid Ceres, or Demeter, whatever you want to call it, with the sign of Virgo as well. Because Ceres, it rules nutrition, it rules agriculture. It's also about mother. It's about women as mothers. It's about the feminine as mothering. And it's all about nurturing things. And Virgo's very much about that. It's about nurturing things through the day-to-day, through our health, through our diet, through our physical body. And so that's why I think of these two asteroids as ruling Virgo in my mind. And again, that's me personally. That's not other astrologers. It's just me. But I associate with that. And so when we get into Virgo season, I really start working with Vesta and with Ceres and working with that energy. And part of what I do is not just work with meditations and spells, with those two particular goddesses, but I also have decks that I associate with each of those different deities. So the deck that I use when I'm, doing readings, with Ceres, and with Ceres, I really think about things like, how I care for my children, how I care for my pets, how I'm managing my nutrition, that kind of thing, all about the nurturing is, I have here the Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reid. I find this is a really great day-to-day type oracle. In fact, for a couple of years, it was my daily draw oracle deck. I find it deals really well with sort of just the day-to-day caring for yourself, caring for others, that kind of thing. And so I really see this as my Ceres deck, my deck that's devoted to her. So it has, things in here like slow and steady. It's also a very feminine deck. It's a very earthy kind of deck. So I quite like that. We have here strength. So you get kind of that earthy, feminine vibe from it. Spark. Intention. I find like a lot of the images in here to be, quite feminine in general, but the advice here is very day-to-day sort of practical kind of stuff. There's a little bit of a sense of mystery, but it also doesn't, shy away from dark things as well. You've got here the storm fields, and there's a real sense of connection with nature as well, which is why I tend to think of this as my Ceres deck. And then we have home, which is very, very Virgo. So that is the deck that I use for that when I'm working with her. If I'm doing a spell or anything like that, where I'm working with her or a ritual, I'll pull a card from that deck. So I don't usually use this deck to read for others. It's more just like the deck I use for this time of year when I'm working with her. And for Vesta, the deck that I use is the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Also a Colette Baron Reid deck, just happens to be that way. This one has earthy energy to it, but it's a lot more shamanistic and a lot more magical. And I find Vesta, she rules the home and hearth, but she's also very connected to our personal sense of spirituality. And this deck has sort of a sense of mysteriousness to it, which I find lends really well to working with Vesta. So we have the crow here. We have the elements like fire. We have tools like that, the blade, the heart of the sky. This is a beautiful card here. Really love that. So it has this really kind of mystical kind of sense to it. But again, it's a very earthy, feminine energy, which I find lends really well to working with Virgo type anyway. I love this card. The Beauty Way is just gorgeous. Let's find another card that I really love. I mean, they're all good, but we've got the moon here. So you've got that sort of feminine energy. And then this one, the Gatherer, is just very harvest, Virgo type energy as well. And you've got some animals in here too, like the owl as well. So that's the deck I use when I'm working with Vesta, because I really honor her as sort of a goddess of priestesses as well. Not just of the home and hearth. It's about keeping our spiritual fires burning. keeping the fire within us burning, I see her as. Because I really see the 4 major feminine asteroids as balancing out the zodiac, which tends to be heavily masculine, because obviously, it was made during times where, things were more patriarchal, or at least, the one we're working with right now. So, Ceres, Vesta, Juno, and Athena were all asteroids that were discovered during the 19th century and early 20th century. And that's really when women's positions in society were evolving. And so they really represent, the different aspects of female roles in our society in some ways. So Ceres is the mother, Vesta is like the priestess, the spiritual woman, Athena's the career woman, and Juno's the wife, right? So it's very much about those roles. And so that's why I like to add them back into the zodiac. So this has kind of been a weird little ramble, but I thought I would talk about Virgo and my associations with Virgo and my Virgo decks. And I hope this has been enjoyable. What are your associations with the sign of Virgo? Let me know. Do you have certain decks that you work with at this time of year? Let me know all that kind of stuff. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, peace and love and rock and roll. Oh, and just so you know, on Patreon, shameless self-promotion here at the end, we are going to be working in September with Vesta. If you're interested in joining the coven over there, we're going to be talking about Vesta and home and hearth magic, and also talking on the school, the witch school as well, about working with tree energy, plant energy for the month. So join me if you want over there. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.